Alright, we back with another video. We're finna react to was Wrld being extorted. Now, in situations like these, I feel like you can't call it extortion if everybody's doing the same shit. If everybody smoking drugs, everybody popping pills, everybody doing this, everybody doing that around you. It's nobody to tell you, oh, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be, you feel what I'm saying? Because everybody on the same type of shit. So they wouldn't classify it as extortion if everybody on the same type of timing, bro. They just think it's their normal life and they don't got nobody telling them, nah, this not right. And if it is niggas around him, then I don't think it's extortion, but I mean, we're just gonna get into the video, bro.
I heard after Juice WRLD's passing was that the pilot on the private jet that he chartered to fly back to Chicago had tipped off law enforcement that there were several illegal items being carried on a plane, and this is why the police were waiting for him when he landed. But then I found out that a month before any of this happened, his flight from Los Angeles to Sydney, Australia was searched by federal agents because he was allegedly already on an FBI watch list. So what is actually the background of what happened on that jet? Now, it's important to note that despite some of his fans being angry at the pilot for allegedly calling the police, the pilot could have very well been an informant, or at the very least coerced by the FBI into providing information. I'm not.
Damn, I never even knew that shit, bro. So the whole time he was already wanted for some shit.
If everyone knows this, but the airport is federal. If you're suspected in any way of crossing state lines, whether by plane or car, you've crossed into federal territory. So of course, if the FBI had checked one of his flights beforehand, why wouldn't they contact his pilot or any pilot that he chartered and order them to provide information? The FBI is not exactly someone you can withhold much information from, especially not as a pilot. Instead of trying to point blame at his girlfriend, the pilot, or whoever was on the flight, the question people should be asking is why over 70 pounds of narcotics were found on the plane. If it were just a few pounds, then I'd say it was all for personal use. It was his birthday week, and according to what his girlfriend told law enforcement, he was an addict. But 70 sounds a lot like trafficking. But why would an artist who's...
But bro, they all knew that shit, bro. Like, everybody, even before this situation happened, I'm sure it's niggas around him who want some shit like, this is what this nigga does, but he also makes music, so it's like, he is our #1 money. Like, he's the main nigga in the whole entire group. He's the nigga we look to. So if they tell this nigga, no, don't do this shit, no, don't do that, he feels he doesn't have to listen to these niggas, because he's the nigga who is above all these niggas. Like, he don't have to listen to these niggas, if that makes sense. Like, so it's like, I feel like no matter whatever they told this nigga, he wasn't gonna listen anyways, bro. Then the type of music he makes is already sad enough, and like, you feel what I'm saying? So it's like, bro,
has already gone gold, platinum, and even diamond while he was alive, living in Encino, one of the most expensive areas in Los Angeles, need to traffic anything. And also, he was only visiting Chicago. He wasn't living there. As I said, he lived in Encino. And this is confirmed by not only he himself stating that he lived in LA, but the Chicago Fire Department also confirmed that in his post-mortem report. But none of this was more surprising than finding out that his remains were transferred to Leak & Sons. If you're not from Chicago, you have no idea what this is, but it's a grimy funeral home in a very grimy area. And his funeral wasn't held there, but the mere mention of it made a certain hood pop into my head, No Limit, which is on 79th, just like Leak & Sons, only Leak & Sons is a bit further west. Now, I'm kinda unclear on what links a kid from the south suburbs to a hood on 79th Street. As Juice WRLD said himself, his mother moved him away from the hood a long time before he blew up. So the guy that signed him after being put onto his music was Lil Bibby, who was a rapper turned executive from No Limit, who also did not know Juice WRLD. When he met Juice WRLD for the first time, he was in the studio with other guys from No Limit who also did not know him. Now, I'll admit that while he was alive, I always thought his association with No Limit was strange. Just being from the city, the suburbs are their own world, and typically the only way you see a guy from the suburbs heavily associating himself with a neighborhood in the inner city is if there was some type of family ties. For instance, there are usually different branches in a family, and a lot of people that grew up in the hood have cousins that grew up middle class.
And that's crazy. That's probably a big-ass coincidence, like, that they just casually ran into this nigga. You feel what I'm saying? In the studio, nobody knew who this nigga was, but it turned out to be like, you feel what I'm saying? Some big ass, you feel what I'm saying? Like, nice, tough ass rapper, like, for that time. Now, I ain't gonna cap and sit up here. I don't listen to Juice WRLD, bro. That's not my type of, you feel what I'm saying? But it's still crazy. Like, you still gotta give a nigga his flowers, bro.
Suburbs. I have family all over the country, from the hood in Memphis to the suburbs in the valley on the West Coast. Now, I don't believe that Bibby is as affiliated with No Limit as he once was, since he really has been playing the executive role for a while, far removed from Chicago. But the guys introduced to Juice Wrld due to his affiliation with Bibby are not executives living in mansions. They are very much guys that were still in the streets. So what use would a millionaire raised in the suburbs be to a street gang? Well, in 2022, 3 Army soldiers along with several other people were accused of trafficking weapons to fuel a gang war, which also took the life of a No Limit associate, proving that even with how disorganized gangs are in Chicago, at least some blocks have enough money flowing through them to get certain people in certain positions to acquire things for them. And if what I speculate is true, it's not hard to believe that Juice Wrld was just being used by somebody for his money and access to private flights. The streets are a cold place, and when you're dealing with people at that level, they'll happily take advantage of you and find the right guy to send you the proposition you can't refuse. When I saw a video of Juice Wrld freestyling and he was actually disrespecting dead people, including some of No Limit ops, I knew there was some type of follower activity going on.
And it's probably the same shit, like, bro, you gotta think, bro. As soon as these niggas sell these sign these contracts, my nigga, that's when everything start going downhill, bro. Like, bro, they probably, like, gave this nigga up front a whole bunch of money, and then niggas don't be reading the contracts and fine print at the bottom and the tiniest of the smallest letters, my nigga. It say some crazy shit. I just seen somebody say they had to drink blood in order to, like, be able to sign a contract, bro. Like, that's the type of shit they doing, bro, which is crazy, but it's nothing you could do, bro. Especially, like, once they in that shit, that's it, bro. So then how they be rapping, oh, I'm a so-and-so when I turn 22 and all of this shit, like, bro, that shit is not worth it, bro.
Again, he's from the suburbs, and although some suburbs of Chicago are dangerous, some are very much not. And he grew up in Homewood, which I would definitely not describe as dangerous or gang infested. So would it be far-fetched to say that some guys from 79th convinced him to bring some weight in for them? I don't believe so. In fact, No Limit Kyron, a character from No Limit, even admitted on No Jumper of all places that he was on the plane with him the day Juice Wrld died.
And I feel like, my bad, but, bro, anybody who goes on No Jumper, bro, this nigga is so federal. No Jumper, DJ Flat, DJ U, bro. All of that shit is stupid, bro. Like, I understand you gotta get some promotion. You gotta let people know who you are and stuff. But, bro, all they do, anything, once you go in there, as soon as you go in there, something happen right after, bro. Either you go to jail, you end up dying, anything, bro. And they're so federal, bro. Like, they be antagonizing you, then they ask you certain questions, and you gotta try to beat around the bush, but at the same time, you gotta show niggas that you really like that. So you gonna say it, but not say it at the same time. Like, you hinting at whatever you did. But that shit just stupid, bro. Then this nigga, I forget, what's this nigga name? Adam. Bro, this nigga is a weirdo just in general, bro. Why y'all supporting this nigga, bro? This nigga is a weird-ass cuck nigga, bro. He shouldn't have no type of platform, bro. I don't care about what he did back when he was fucking with X and all of that shit, bro. That shit is not today, bro. He's a weird nigga now, bro.
Important to remember that Kyron is not a rapper. He tried his hand in vlogging on YouTube before he ended up in the feds, but he was strictly known for being a guy in the streets for No Limit. Not a rapper, producer, or anything that has to do with music. And listen, a lot of these guys could have genuinely liked Juice Wrld and become his friends, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't ask him to do something risky. He was 20 and so were a lot of guys around him, and when I was 20, I was in college, so I can't say that I never saw anyone be convinced to do something that would ruin their life if they got caught. And this is the streets, so it's even worse. And there is even a rumor that some of the guys around him took Juice Wrld's watch after he died. And it's not the same, but it just reminds me.
Even his girlfriend, she was selling this nigga old music and shit, bro. Like, she's a leech too, bro. All these niggas is leeching off this, you feel what I'm saying, nigga who not even alive, and trying to get this nigga some more music. I mean, some more money from his music, bro. Like, they just dropped his album or whatever the song they dropped, some 5-year anniversary or some shit, bro. I didn't listen to it, but, like, bro, y'all gotta let a nigga, bro. I know they say he probably had a whole bunch of unreleased, but it's like, didn't he make a song with X, bro? It's no way that shit is not AI, bro. It's nothing you can do to convince me, bro.
Chief Keef having things stolen out of his house because he let people in that he thought were his friends. In reality, most people are just opportunists, especially when you're the one that achieves something that most people only dream about. I'm from 79th, so I can just imagine what these guys felt like flying on private jets with Juice Wrld and riding around LA in foreign cars. This is a guy that was more successful than any rapper and arguably any entertainer from Chicago ever since Kanye West. During his life, he was top
What
10 in
about Chief
all of
Keef?
music as far as popularity. Just standing next to him would have got you 50,000 followers. And Kyron, now I'm not saying that if what I speculate is true that he was involved, as Kyron is the only guy from that area that was smart enough to capitalize off his own name and affiliation with people more famous than him, and it led to him gaining hundreds of thousands of views on his own YouTube channel, earning his own money. And it's also important to remember that there is no current investigation into all of the things found on his plane. Some of the people that were on board with him were only charged with weapons, but whatever trafficking investigation the feds had open on Juice Wrld, they clearly thought he was the ringleader because the case is closed. And several No Limit members have been arrested since his death, including Kyron, but none charged with drug trafficking. The affiliation between Juice and No Limit just shows how naive he really was. Since he was discovered by a No Limit associate, and he's the one that put him in the room with the other label executives, he might feel like he owes some type of loyalty to him, and that's fine. And if the guys around Lil Bibby showed Juice Wrld support and he felt loyalty to them as well, that's fine too. But being from Chicago, you would know that just being seen with some of these guys can make you a target, which is unnecessary, especially if you're not actually involved in what they have going on. No Limit is a very infamous hood, and they've been getting busy for over 30 years. Multiple generations, from back in the day when it was just called Terror Town to today with Drench Gang. These are some guys that you're only seen with if you're prepared to take on everything that they're into. And it's no secret, this has been one of the more intimidating cliques, like I said, for over 30 years. It's not just some group of young guys that jumped in the streets and started gang banging. But maybe Juice was just so under the influence most of the time that he didn't even realize what kind of danger he was putting himself in just by being around them. And with the back door always open in Chicago, it's hard for me to believe that Juice Wrld wasn't somewhat intimidated by these guys, as in his freestyle where he was dissing their ops, he even hesitated for a second as if almost rethinking his actions. But the person behind the camera dropping the rakes was most likely No Limit. Either way, if you want to believe that the police being tipped off is the reason Juice Wrld is no longer here, that's fine. But whatever was going on, it just doesn't look like something that he should have ever been involved with in the first place. Thanks for watching, and rest in peace to Gerard Higgins.
Yeah, rest in peace, bro. But anything I said in this video, you know what I'm saying? This is just my opinion, bro. Another thing I gotta say is, bro, you gotta watch who you're hanging around, bro. Like, this nigga probably would have still, you feel what I'm saying, been alive if, like, he wasn't hanging around certain niggas and niggas was actually trying to get this nigga to do something better in his life, bro. Because he had niggas who actually fuck with him, bro. But niggas around him just want him to, like, they always on the type of timing that this nigga was on. You feel what I'm saying? So, it's nothing that nigga can do about that shit. So, let me know what y'all want to see next, bro. I'm out.